From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media, or Voice of America, on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. led the Tara sa Palasyo Christmas celebration at Malacañang Palace in Manila, extending holiday cheer to returning overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, and their families. The President personally welcomed the OFWs and joined them in activities prepared for the event, which centered on family bonding, entertainment, and recognition of the contributions of migrant workers. In a social media post over the weekend, President Marcos said the Christmas season is a time to honor Filipinos who continue to sacrifice for their loved ones and for the country, especially OFWs, whom he referred to as the nation's modern-day heroes. Held at the Kalayaan grounds, the event forms part of the administration's continuing efforts to recognize the vital role of OFWs in supporting their families and contributing to national development. Around 400 OFWs and their families took part in the festivities organized by the Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA. One of the program highlights was a live performance by the top 3 winners of the OWA Duets Singing Competition 2025, adding to the festive atmosphere. As part of the Paskong Pinoy offerings, the classic Filipino film Anak, directed by Rory Quintos and starring Vilma Santos and Claudine Barreto, was screened as a tribute to the sacrifices of OFWs and the families they leave behind. Now, in its 4th year, Tara sa Palasyo opens the palace grounds to the public during the Christmas season, featuring carnival rides, amusement attractions, live musical performances, film screenings, and a selection of traditional Filipino holiday food.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines has been re-elected by consensus as an ad hoc member of the Standing Committee of the International Development Law Organization, or IDLO, for 2025 to 2027. In a statement, the Philippine Embassy in Italy said, "The renewed mandate underscores the country's active role and sustained commitment to promoting the rule of law and expanding access to justice within the international community." Ambassador and Philippine Permanent Representative Neil Imperial, who sits on the committee, reaffirmed Manila's strong support for IDLO's mission to strengthen justice systems and build durable institutions that underpin sustainable development. He also conveyed the Philippines' appreciation to IDLO's donors and partners, particularly the United States and the European Union, for their contributions to improving access to justice, modernizing legal frameworks, and enhancing the capacity of the Philippine justice sector. The Philippines likewise stressed the need for greater burden and responsibility sharing to help IDLO sustain its programs amid persistent funding challenges. It also highlighted the urgency of reinforcing the rule of law, ensuring accountability, and safeguarding human rights. Imperial noted that progress towards Sustainable Development Goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions remains slow due to ongoing conflicts and geopolitical tensions. He emphasized that vulnerable and marginalized groups, including women, girls, and indigenous peoples, continue to face barriers in accessing justice. He reiterated the Philippines' call for consistent adherence to a rules-based international order, including respect for the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, and its dispute settlement mechanisms. As a maritime nation, he said, international law is vital to the country's future and central to its democratic principles. During the assembly, IDLO Director General John Beagle stressed that multilateralism remains essential in addressing global challenges, noting that the rule of law is key to reducing conflict, protecting rights, combating corruption, and fostering stable environments for development. The election was held on December 12th in Rome during the 2025 annual meeting of the IDLO Assembly of Parties. The Philippines, a founding member of IDLO, became a member party in 1989.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Marcos administration is banking on newly declared Special Economic Zones, or SEZs, to serve as fresh engines of growth, with Malacañang framing the latest proclamations as part of a broader push to disperse investments beyond traditional business centers and accelerate job creation. Executive Secretary Ralph Recto said the new eco-zones in Parañaque, Laguna, and Misamis Oriental were strategically selected to maximize each area's strengths, from digital services and innovation to agro-industrial development, while easing the long-standing concentration of economic activity in Metro Manila. In a statement Sunday, Recto said those significant areas continue to attract investors because of their strategic location, skilled workforce, good infrastructure, and reliable utilities. He added that formal SEZ designation provides investors with predictability and incentives that encourage long-term capital commitments. Signed on December 16, 2025, the proclamations authorized the establishment of an information technology hub in Asiana City, Parañaque, an agro-industrial estate in Medina, Misamis Oriental, and the Philinvest Innovation Park in Laguna. The mix reflects the administration's intent to balance urban tech development with countryside industry and innovation-driven growth. According to Malacañang, the three ecozones are expected to attract around 3.03 billion pesos in investments and create up to 7,200 jobs, supporting the government's strategy of linking investment incentives with employment generation. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or PEZA, recommended the new zones, which will operate under the Special Economic Zone Act of 1995. Registered enterprises will be eligible for fiscal and non-fiscal incentives while adhering to regulatory and development standards set for SEZs.
Dateline Malacañang.
And news from the Philippine Senate, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian expressed confidence that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will not veto the proposed 6.793 trillion peso national budget for 2026, saying the spending plan was crafted in close coordination with the executive branch. In a radio interview on Sunday, Gatchalian said both chambers worked closely with the executive to ensure the final version aligns with government priorities. The Senate and House of Representatives wrapped up their bicameral conference committee meeting on December 18th after reconciling differing provisions in the budget bill. The session was publicly live-streamed for the first time to promote transparency. As chair of the Senate Finance Committee, Gatchalian said he is optimistic that the 2026 budget will effectively respond to public needs. Congress is scheduled to ratify the bicameral report on December 28th. He added that the drafting of the General Appropriations Act or GAA or the enrolled bill is underway and still done manually. Gatchalian said Congress is studying ways to automate the process using new technologies to make budget preparation faster and more transparent. The senator also announced plans to activate the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee on Public Expenditures, which has been dormant for years. The panel, he said, will conduct regular oversight, possibly monthly or weekly, on key government programs. Gatchalian emphasized that the committee will operate year-round, not only during deliberations on the National Expenditure Program. He noted that many agencies request funds that remain unspent or are not utilized properly.
Dateline Malacañang.
Senate President pro tempore Panfilo Lacson on Sunday mourned the passing of Antipolo City 2nd District Representative Romeo Acop, describing the late lawmaker as a trusted friend and mentor. In a statement, Lacson said he was devastated to learn about Acop's passing, adding that he was a dear friend, cavalier, upperclassman, and advisor. Lacson, a former chief of the Philippine National Police or PNP, recalled Acop's unwavering commitment to cleansing the police force of erring personnel. He noted that it was Acop who first recommended allocating 85% of the PNP's financial and logistical resources to frontline units, leaving only 15% for headquarters operations, an initiative that became a key component of the PNP's reform program. Lacson said their bond grew even stronger after he entered the Senate in 2001. Acop was later elected as Antipolo City's 2nd District Representative in 2010. He added that Acop's children may find comfort in knowing that their father is now reunited with his wife, Dr. and Congresswoman Resurrección Marrero Acop, who passed away due to COVID-19 complications 5 years ago.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. personally conveyed his condolences and solidarity to the family of overseas Filipino worker or OFW Marian Pascual Esteban, especially to her surviving child, through Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Magpayo. The President also instructed that continued support and care be extended to Esteban's family during this period of deep grief and hardship. The child and other dependents of OFW Esteban receive financial assistance and scholarship support from the DMW's Action Fund and Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA welfare programs. They will also receive statutory compensation from the Hong Kong government. Government assistance for Esteban's family will continue. Through the coordination of the Philippine Consulate General and the Migrant Workers Office with Hong Kong authorities, the DMW and the OWA, the repatriation of Esteban's remains was carried out. Her remains arrived in the country on Saturday evening at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 1 via Philippine Airlines Flight PR-31. They were received by Secretary Kakdak, OWA Administrator Patricia Yvonne Kaunan, and House Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs Chairperson Congressman Brian Revilla. On Sunday, Esteban's remains were brought to her home province in Tuguegarao via PR 2014. Upon arrival in Tuguegarao, her remains were met by her family, together with Secretary Kakdak, DMW Assistant Secretary Regina Galias, DMW Region 2 Regional Director Rogelio Benitez, and OWA Region 2 Regional Director Versi Tamayao. It will be recalled that OFW Esteban died in the fire at Taipo Towers in Hong Kong on November 26. She displayed remarkable heroism, showing courage and compassion as she saved the life of her employer's 5-year-old daughter amid the blaze that engulfed Wang Fuk Court. OFW Esteban had worked as a domestic worker in Hong Kong for 5 years and had been planning to return home to reunite with her 10-year-old child.
Dateline Malacañang.
All police units in Camarines Sur and neighboring provinces have been placed on heightened alert and directed to step up security operations against communist rebels following last week's landmine explosion that killed 2 soldiers and injured 3 others. Acting Philippine National Police or PNP Chief Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. said, police units are assisting the military in pursuit operations while investigators are building cases against those responsible. In a statement Sunday, Nartates extended the PNP's deepest condolences to the families of the 2 soldiers who lost their lives in this attack. The blast occurred on December 19th in the village of Kabungan, Balatan Town. In a separate statement, Philippine Army Commander Lieutenant General Antonio Navarrete also expressed sympathy to the families of the fallen troops. Navarrete said the Army will continue its efforts until justice is served and the peace the soldiers fought to defend is restored.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police or PNP on Sunday announced that the agency has placed all units on alert in anticipation of the holiday travel surge. Acting PNP Chief Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. ordered tighter security and heightened police visibility in ports, terminals, and other transport hubs nationwide as millions of Filipinos head to their home provinces for Christmas. Local police units were directed to carefully plan and adjust personnel deployment in major transport hubs to ensure passenger safety and smooth movement of travelers. Nartates also instructed local police units to strategize personnel deployment in ports and terminals to boost police presence in these public areas. More than 100,000 police officers will be deployed nationwide during the Christmas and New Year holidays to secure transport terminals, major roads, commercial districts, and residential areas, significantly higher than last year's 60,000. Nartates also urged the public to follow travel regulations, cooperate with authorities, and immediately report any peace and order concerns.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still with the country's police force, the Philippine National Police or PNP is gathering evidence to determine the circumstances surrounding the death of former Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral. In a statement Sunday, Acting PNP Chief Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. said, "The next step is to establish what truly happened, and this is now the focus of their efforts." Nartates noted that the investigation is being handled with caution given the national interest in Cabral's reported knowledge of alleged irregularities in flood control projects currently under government scrutiny. Cabral was found dead early Friday after reportedly falling into the Bued River in Tuba, Benguet, several meters from the highway. Interior and Local Government Secretary John Vic Rimulya said Saturday that autopsy results showed Cabral died from blunt traumatic injury consistent with a fall, with no indications of foul play. Nartates said the PNP recognizes the sensitivity of the case, especially for Cabral's family, but stressed the need to secure any potential evidence she may have had at the time of her death. He also ordered stricter internal supervision of local police units involved in the incident, following lapses that led to the relief of a Tuba police official. Nartates again urged the public to avoid speculation and wait for official findings. The PNP's investigation follows President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to ensure that all law enforcement operations, including the probe into Cabral's death and the DPWH flood control controversy, are carried out with diligence, integrity, and transparency.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, has sealed a multi-sector partnership to rehabilitate 30 hectares of degraded upland forest in Sitio Daing, Barangay Duale, Limay, Bataan. The initiative brings together the agency, the provincial government of Bataan, the municipality of Limay, Petron Foundation Incorporated, and the Samahang Magsasaka sa Kagubatan Limay Bataan Incorporated, or Samasaka. The collaboration aims to fast-track forest restoration while creating sustainable livelihood opportunities for local communities. The agreement marks the official launch of the 5-year Puno ng Buhay Limay Reforestation Project. Aligned with the DENR's mandate under Executive Order No. 192, the project supports the National Greening Program by restoring denuded forest lands, safeguarding critical watersheds, and contributing to climate action through forest rehabilitation and carbon sequestration. DNR Secretary Rafael Dotilla emphasized that the project's success hinges on the shared commitment of government agencies, the private sector, and community groups to deliver concrete, measurable outcomes. The reforestation site lies within Samasaka's community-based forest management area and will be implemented through a community-led approach. Plans include planting native and fruit-bearing trees, bamboo, and timber species to boost biodiversity and strengthen ecosystem resilience. Petron General Manager and Chairperson Lubin Nepomuceno said the project is expected to enhance groundwater recharge and provide long-term benefits to surrounding communities, noting that the partnership underscores Petron's continued commitment to environmental stewardship in Bataan. Once completed, the rehabilitated areas and all improvements will be formally turned over to the DENR to ensure sustained protection and management of the restored forest land.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard at 65 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.